The wind was super chilly that morning in Wyoming, blowing dust and frost all over like a grumpy warning. It was so cold it felt like it could sneak through your jeans and make your bones shiver before you even ate breakfast. But Samuel Hayes, he'd been through tougher stuff war, losing people, dry spells. He wasn't scared when the wind howled like a spooky ghost. He just zipped his coat up, pulled his hat down, and kept on walking. Every Sunday, he checked the fence around his land. No helpers, no rush, just him, his old horse spoon, and a thermos of coffee that got cold way too fast. About 2 miles from his house, past some cedar trees, he spotted something weird. At first, it looked like a dark blob by a fence post. Maybe a bag of feed someone threw out, or a dead coyote. But when he got closer, Boone stopped dead, ears back, nose twitching. Sam squinted. It was a kid, tied to the fence with rough rope. Like an animal, the kid's arms were stretched up, wrists red and bleeding from the tight rope. His knees were wobbly, head drooping. His shirt was torn, hanging loose on a skinny, bruised body, and his bare feet were stuck to the frozen ground. Sam got off Boone without a word. The boy flinched a tiny bit when Sam touched him. He was barely awake. His lip was cut, cheek puffy. There were old bruises under new ones, the kind that take years to pile up. Sam pulled out his knife and cut the rope. The boy fell into his arms like a rag doll stuffed with sharp bits. Sam picked him up carefully. The kid was so light, it was scary. His ribs poked out like the slats of an old, faded fence. When Sam lifted him onto the saddle, the boy mumbled something. Sam leaned close to hear. "Don't send me back, please." The ride home was slow. Sam wrapped the boy in his big coat and held him tight in the saddle. Boone walked steady. The boy kept dozing off, mostly out. He didn't cry or talk, just clung to Sam's coat with scratched up little hands, like he was holding on to the edge of the world. At home, Sam laid him on the old couch by the stove and got the fire going strong. He brought water, soup, and a warm blanket. The boy didn't talk until way after the sun went down. Sam sat nearby, boots off, sleeves rolled up. He didn't crowd the kid, just waited. Finally, the boy spoke. "My name's Ben." His voice sounded rough, like sand. Sam nodded. "I'm Sam." Ben looked around, like he wasn't sure this was real. "Is this your house?" "Yup. It's not fancy, but it's mine." A quiet pause. Then, softer. "Am I in trouble?" Sam frowned. "For what?" "For being here. For running away." Sam leaned back. "You didn't sneak in. You didn't lie. Someone tied you to a fence like a post. That's not your fault. That's someone else's." Ben didn't answer. He stared at the fire like it might gobble him up. In the morning, Ben could barely walk, so Sam helped him to a spare room. No questions, no pushing. Just hot tea and bandages. Sam didn't mention the round scars on Ben's back, or how he jumped if someone moved too fast, or the quiet way he ate, like the food might disappear if he made noise. That night, Ben asked, "Why'd you help me?" Sam lit his pipe and thought for a bit. "Because someone should have." A long pause. "Because I know what it's like to be left somewhere and told it's your fault." Ben really looked at him then, not like a scared animal, but like someone trying to believe in something new. 3 days later, a rider came up the trail. Sam watched from the window. The guy was skinny, dressed nice, but his eyes looked sneaky. He got off his horse smooth, tied it up like he owned the place, and knocked hard. Sam opened the door slow. "Morning," the guy said, tipping his hat. "Name's Otis Mallory. Looking for my nephew, Ben. Says he ran off. Got lost. Poor kid." Sam didn't move. "Why do you think he's here?" Otis grinned. "Saw boot tracks by the fence. Fresh. Figured he'd end up on someone's land. He's a lot to handle. A real pain. You get it. I don't." Otis smiled bigger. "You sure he ain't inside?" "I'm sure you ain't family." The guy's eyes got cold. "Look, let's not make this hard. Give me the boy, and there's no trouble." Sam let the silence hang, then said, "If you left him tied to my fence like a stray dog, the trouble's already here." Otis leaned closer. "You think you're some hero, Cowboy? You think that kid's worth dying for?" Sam didn't blink. I think if you take one more step, you'll find out how much he's worth." Otis stared, then laughed slow. "You'll regret this." And he rode off. Sam shut the door. Inside, Ben was in the hallway, pale, shaking. Sam knelt down. "You did nothing wrong." Ben's eyes got watery, but he held it in. "He's not my uncle." "I know. He sold me after my mom died. She owed him something. He said I was payment." Sam stood. "Then he'll come back, and next time, he won't knock." The night after Otis left, the air felt heavy. Even Boone, Sam's old horse, pawed the ground nervously, and the coyotes that usually howled were quiet. Sam sat on the porch past midnight, rifle across his lap, watching the road. Ben finally slept in the spare room, curled up in blankets like he hadn't been warm in forever. He didn't say much after Otis left, but Sam could tell he wasn't just scared anymore. He was ready, waiting, like he knew what kind of guys come back after smiling and tipping their hats. Sam knew too, because guys like Otis don't let go. Not because they're proud or lawful, but because they think people are things they own. The next morning, Ben helped with chores, not because Sam asked, but because he needed to keep busy. He carried water, tossed feed, and swept the porch with an old broom that was mostly stick. He didn't talk much, but he was steady, always watching. His hands moved fast like he was used to being judged for being slow. At noon, he asked, "Do you think he'll come back?" Sam didn't lie. "Yup." Ben nodded, then quieter. "What'll you do when he does?" Sam looked at him. "What I have to." Ben stared for a long time, then went back to shoveling grain. That afternoon, Sam rode to town. He didn't say why, and Ben didn't ask. He was back by night, hauling a crate under a tarp. Inside were bullets, salt blocks, a new lock, and a small bundle of old folded letters tied with string. After supper, he handed them to Ben. "Your mom. She used to write to someone in town. The preacher's wife gave me these. Said she hadn't seen her in months." Ben's hand shook as he opened the first letter. Sam didn't watch him read. He just added wood to the fire and stared at the flames like they might tell him something he'd been searching for forever. 2 nights later, Sam was sharpening his knife on the porch when he saw a glow. Firelight down the valley road. 3 riders, lanterns swinging, dust kicking up. Ben stepped out beside him, quiet. Sam kept sharpening. "You sure you want to be here for this?" Ben nodded. "I'm done running." Sam looked at him, then stood, put the knife away, and handed Ben a small, old revolver. "Don't shoot, unless you have to. If you do, don't miss." Ben took it without a word. They came just after midnight. 3 horses, 1 wagon. Otis was in front, looking smug. He wore a clean shirt, and his spurs sparkled in the lantern light, but his eyes were colder now. No acting, no lies, just a guy who thought he owned everything. Behind him were 2 big, quiet guys with rifles on their backs. The wagon had something covered with a tarp. Sam didn't need to guess what. Otis got off his horse slow. "Evening, Hayes." Sam stepped off the porch. "You're on my land. Just here for what's mine." "He's not yours," Otis sighed, like he was disappointed. "You think you're doing good, but you're not. You're breaking something that's not supposed to break." Sam raised an eyebrow. "Like your nose if you take another step?" Otis smirked. He waved a hand. One of the guys pulled the tarp off the wagon. Inside was another boy. No, older than Ben, tied up, mouth covered, eyes wide with fear. Sam's stomach twisted. Otis pointed. "This is what I do, Hayes. Flesh. Work. Names don't matter. Faces don't matter. You think you can protect 1 kid forever? For every one I lose, I find 3 more." Ben stepped onto the porch behind Sam, gun hidden behind his leg. He said clearly, "You killed my mom." Otis looked at him, not bothered. "She broke her deal. That's not killing. That's business." Sam turned, looked at Ben, then back at Otis, and said 1 word. "Run." Otis sneered. "What?" Sam raised his rifle. "Run now, or I bury you where you stand." Otis didn't move until a shot rang out, loud and sharp. Not Sam's. Ben had fired. The bullet missed on purpose, hitting the ground near Otis's boot, but it said enough. One of the guys panicked. "I didn't sign up for this." He dropped his rifle and backed off. The other guy hesitated until Sam aimed at him. That did it. Within minutes, the wagon turned and the men rode off. Otis, red-faced and mad, got on his horse and left without a word. He didn't yell threats or promise to come back. He knew he'd lost. When they were gone, Sam looked at Ben. The boy was shaking, still holding the revolver tight. Sam knelt beside him. "You did good." Ben blinked fast, trying not to cry. "I thought I was gonna miss." "You didn't. You hit what mattered." That night, Ben slept by the fire. Sam kept watch, not because he thought Otis would come back, but because he knew guys like that don't just disappear. They stew. But Sam wasn't worried because the boy who once whispered, "Don't send me back," was now standing tall, tired, bruised, but not broken. By the end of the week, the town was buzzing. Sam felt it when the blacksmith didn't say hi. He saw it when the store clerk kept looking over his shoulder while bagging flour. Even the preacher, a nice guy with soft hands and a strong voice, looked away when Sam tipped his hat at church. People were talking. Not because Otis came back. He hadn't. Not yet, but because guys like him always left a trail of whispers and missing people. And guys like him had friends who wore badges and carried official papers. Sam knew this. He'd lived long enough to know who bought silence and who let them. Ben stayed at the ranch, not asking to go to town. He worked with Sam, quiet, focused, getting tougher every day. His bruises faded. His scared look softened. But some shadows stuck around, especially the ones from feeling ashamed. One morning, while fixing fence posts, he said, "I know they talk about me." Sam didn't look up. "They don't know you. They think I'm trouble or dirty or lying." Sam hammered a nail hard. "They think a lot of things. Doesn't make it true. Do you?" That made Sam stop. He turned, looked at Ben. "No, but I think you've been hurt bad. And that kind of hurt can make the world feel small if you let it." Ben nodded slowly. "I don't want to stay small." That afternoon, the sheriff showed up. He didn't ride fast or angry, but he came alone, which meant business, not a friendly visit. Sam met him at the gate. "Sheriff," he said, voice flat. "Sam," the sheriff replied, tipping his hat. "Can I come in?" "I'd rather you didn't," the sheriff sighed. "This ain't about you. It's about the boy." Sam crossed his arms. "He's done nothing wrong. Never said he did, but I got word from Cheyenne. Some guy named Otis Mallory filed a complaint. Says you're keeping a kid from his legal guardian." Sam snorted. "Otis Mallory shouldn't be in charge of a fence post." "Maybe," the sheriff said carefully. "But the law doesn't always check who's mean, just who's got papers." Sam stepped closer. "You here to take him?" "No," the sheriff said. "I'm here to warn you. If he stays, it'll get messy. State agents, judges, maybe guys less patient than me. I'm giving you a heads up, Sam, because I remember what you did at Cold Hollow. I know you don't. Bend easy. But this," he looked at the house, "this won't end clean." Sam didn't sleep that night. He sat by the stove with an old tin of tobacco and a book he wasn't reading. Outside, the wind scratched branches against the window. Ben came in, rubbing his eyes. "Are they coming?" Sam looked up. "Probably." "Will you let them take me?" Silence. Then, "No." Ben sat by the stove, legs crossed. "You don't have to fight for me, you know." Sam's jaw tightened. "Yeah, I do." "Why?" Sam leaned forward. "Because someone should have a long time ago. And because you didn't run when you could have. You stood up, scared as you were. That's what men do. So I'll do the same for you." Ben stared at the fire, then whispered, "I don't remember my mom's voice." Just the look in her eyes before they took her, like she knew I'd end up alone. Sam's chest hurt. He wanted to say something, but instead, he put a hand on Ben's shoulder. That was enough. 2 days later, a letter came, all official with a stamp and a seal Sam hadn't seen in years. The state was sending an agent. 3 days to get ready. 3 days to decide. Run, hide, lie. Ben sat at the table, staring at the paper. "If I go with them, you won't get hurt." Sam shook his head. "That's not how it works. You go. You disappear. Maybe not today, but you will. That's what guys like Otis count on. No one watching after you're gone. Then what do? Sam exhaled. We show them something they can't ignore. On the third day, Sam and Ben rode to town. They didn't talk much. Ben wore clean clothes. Sam wore his old war coat with faded buttons and a Medal of Honor hidden inside. They went to the sheriff's office, the church, the store, and the mayor's house. At every stop, Sam said the same thing. The boy's staying. If you've got any guts, help me keep him safe. Some people stayed quiet. Some walked away, but a few nodded, and that was enough. The state agent came that evening. Fancy suit, badge, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Sam met him outside the house. Ben stood behind him. The sheriff was there, too, arms crossed, quiet. I'm here for the boy, the agent said, under legal order. Sam handed him a bundle of letters, signed statements from townsfolk, and a note from the local judge saying Otis's claim was being checked for crimes. The agent flipped through it, jaw tight. You really want to make this hard, don't you? Sam smiled, dry as dirt. It's only hard if you think justice is trouble. The agent paused, then turned to leave. This isn't over. Sam tipped his hat. That's what the war said, too. That night, Ben sat on the porch, legs swinging, looking at the stars. Is it over? Sam sat beside him. No, but it's quiet. Ben leaned against Sam's arm. Can I stay? Sam didn't answer with words. He just put a hand on Ben's back. And for the first time since Sam found him at the fence, Ben smiled. Fall hit the Wyoming Valley hard. The grass turned gold. The air got crisp, and the wind whispered through the pines like a story trying to be remembered. The ranch stayed calm. The fences held strong, and for the first time in years, Sam didn't feel like he was waiting for something to break. Ben was different now. His voice wasn't loud, but it was steady. He fixed things without being told. He learned the land, which gates stuck, where snakes hid in warm weather, how to whistle boom back from the field. He wasn't just healing, he was growing. One morning, while fixing the west fence, Ben said, Can I brand a calf this spring? Sam nodded without looking up. You've earned it. Ben grinned like the sun was shining just for him. But peace in a place like this never lasted. It came with boot tracks in the dirt, a rider too quiet, and a silence so deep the birds flew away. It came one afternoon, just before dusk. Boom whinnied loud. The goats ran from the field. Sam, on the porch, saw a man walking up the trail. No horse, no dust, no hello. It was Otis, but he looked different, smaller, paler. His shirt was cleaner than his boots, and his eyes weren't angry. They were desperate. Sam didn't grab his rifle yet. He let Otis walk the long path, past the pasture, through the gate, to the porch. Otis looked around. He here. Sam leaned against the doorframe. You here for another lie or a last one? Otis didn't smile. I ain't got time for talk. I came to make a deal. Sam raised an eyebrow. Otis pulled out a small envelope from his coat. Slow. There's a bounty coming. Not just on me, on anyone who helped the boy. The state's cracking down. I'm on a list. So are you, Sam said dryly. So we hide together? No, I trade. Otis unrolled the envelope. Inside were papers, guardianship orders, a signed confession. From Otis Mallory, admitting to trafficking, selling kids, lying. Sam didn't move. Otis stepped closer. Give me a horse. Let me ride north. I give you this. No more agents. No more guys with badges knocking. Ben stays. You stay. Sam stared for a long time. You think you get to walk away? Otis nodded. I've lost everything. All I've got left is getting out. The door creaked. Ben stood there, taller, still thin, but standing strong, eyes clear. He looked Otis in the face. You killed my mom. Otis didn't deny it. He looked at Ben, empty. I killed a lot of things, kid. You're the only one who came back. Sam turned. You want justice, Ben? Ben's fists were tight, jaw locked. But after a long moment, he said, No, I want him gone. Sam nodded. To Otis, you'll ride south, not north. There's a station 2 towns over. Sheriff's waiting for you. Hand those papers in. If you don't, he stepped closer. I'll find you, and I won't talk. Otis nodded, gave Sam the envelope, took an old mule Sam offered, and left, slow, hunched, like a shadow. They never saw him again. Weeks passed. Sam filed the papers. The sheriff sent them on. The state pressed charges, quiet ones, the kind made by people who didn't want to look bad. Otis's operation fell apart. More kids were freed, some found, some not, but Ben stayed. He branded his first calf that spring, got kicked in the leg, and laughed louder than Sam had ever heard. By summer, he was up before sunrise, fixing fences with his own gloves, telling jokes to the wind. One night, as they watched a storm roll in, Ben asked, "Did you ever think you'd be a dad?" Sam sipped his coffee. "Not like this. Not this late." Ben nodded. "But you don't regret it." Sam looked at him. "Ben, you saved me, not the other way around." "How?" "You made me stop just surviving and start living again." Ben didn't answer, but he sat a little taller. The last repair on the north fence came a year later. The same fence where Sam found Ben. They worked together, no words needed. Just hammers, creaking boards, and the wind rustling through a place that finally felt like home. When they finished, Ben carved something into the last post. Sam didn't see it until later. Just 4 letters, burned in with a hot nail.